pie del Ávila majestuoso, a 920 metros sobre el nivel del mar, en un valle de verde geografía que se abre de este a oeste, surge Caracas, la capital de Venezuela.
And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Go get some!
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of the Combat Club, because in this podcast, we are born to fight anywhere, anytime, anywhere. And this episode, we're going to dedicate just like an early preview of the UFC 315, which is going to be really insane. Now, right now, I'm not alone, because right now, we are joined with a special guest. So please have a welcome to the DJ MTK, as known as the part of the WestCoast Radio.tv, and of course with the MMA Homies podcast. So how's it going, DJ MTK? So right now we're doing something very special for UFC 315 right now.
No, thanks for having me, homie. I appreciate it. I didn't know you were a Lakers fan and a Raiders fan.
Yes.
Okay, exactly. Okay. I see you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So first and foremost, we're gonna talking about like the UFC 315, because it was like the much really happens with it comes for the any year. Because right now they have 5 fights in just like 1 second. Because they have Benoit Davis versus Joel Alvarez, they have Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva, Jose Aldo versus Ayman Sahivi. Also, they got Valentina Shevchenko versus Manu Fiorot for the Women's Flyweight Championship. And for the Welterweight Championship, they have Jack Della Maddalena versus Malal Muhammad. Now, for this moment right now, because let's talk about like Benoit Davis versus Joel Alvarez. Because at this point right now, Benoit Davis, I mean, he just feel like really prepared for that fight against Joel Alvarez. But it seems that he gives us like a hints for anything, because he's going to get out of the comfort zone. Because he just wanted to call it off of the fight or the face off right now. But I think between for like the grappling and striking, he looks very much this one, because they don't give like something like better enter for the top 5, but it's really weird. But I think that that's not what it's losing, but because it was something that would have driven up for the warm up. But I think that with Benoit Davis, before I had to go in the fight against Joel Alvarez, I mean, that was like at the between for like considerably how resembled this is crazy, because the chin length differential is telling the story. Now, between for like the ability to get him shit out of the kick right now, I mean, I know this is great grappler because he has a lot of punchy power, but his boxing technique, he really sucks. And maybe the another appointment was just Mary piecing him up. But I think that had to go set a sacred division, but they might him for the submission. That's something that soon can happen, because I got to depict it all like around the fighters like Calvin Guitar, one of Rafael Aldo, and beautifully said, because before the stoppage, it was like more feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you thinking about like a Benoit Davis and before like a Joe Alvarez? So do you think that the grappling has to go for like taking advantage for Benoit Davis?
I think that, I mean, kind of just to continue what you were talking about, I mean, Benoit was a rising star.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, the past year, he got knocked out by Dustin Poirier. He gets stopped by Renato Moicano, and his star has dropped. Then the UFC steps in and gives him a rising star, Joe Alvarez, who just gotten into the rankings, has knocked out his past 2 opponents, has looked really good. If Benoit is smart, he'll make it a grappling game. But I think Benoit wants to stand and bang with him, though.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. But between for like Benoit and Davis, I mean, they look very quiet. Because I look at he belongs to the top fighter division, then he was really gassed and called hot. It really happens. I mean, there's no shame of being like an up and comer getting beat by Dustin Poirier. I mean, they came out with a loss, but they're looking very good. But then got embarrassed by Moicano, a guy who literally no one thinks at the top 5 caliber. He really stuck in to go after the fight. Maybe his confidence is too. But this new wave of prospects are really taking over. But they're never going to stop spinning like the kids that he did for the last fight. But I think that Joel Alvarez is really awesome, but he can constantly make weight. Because if you remember when the people that were talking about like moving up for 170, but they didn't miss when they go into one more fight at 155 because they're going to make it to the side. And that's a great game.
For Alvarez, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's interesting because you're right. When they gave him the Dustin Poirier fight, I think a lot of people counted Dustin out. A lot of people said, Dustin's, his career's over. Benoit Saint Denis, he's the next new guy. And then when he got knocked out by Dustin, I was like, whoa, okay, hold on. Maybe Benoit, isn't as good as everybody thought. And that's why I love what the matchmakers do, when they give you these type of fights, especially to open the card. This will be a banger. If you're just a fan of fighting and just a fan of UFC, and this is the first fight you see on the main card, you're gonna be in. Go get your popcorn, roll up your blunts, get some food ready because this is gonna be exciting because you're gonna have 2 guys that are really gonna step in the ring, and neither one of them can really afford to lose because Alvarez just got into the rankings. He is number 15. Well deserved, and now he's trying to take that number 13 spot. And Benoit doesn't want to lose 3 in a row.
I mean, that's correct right now. But in between for like the another fight, because I know he has a great ground game, but if it doesn't get clipped earlier, it'll come out of a summation that they're gonna be like a really scratch right now. All right, so the next fight we're gonna talk about.
So who do you got? You got Alvarez?
Yeah, I just got the Alvarez.
Okay, I'm gonna take Alvarez too. I'm gonna take Alvarez too. I think he's just a rising star right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean exactly, but it's not gonna be like a really disappoint right now. But it just happened like a lot of things happened because the grappling and the striking, I mean, they just really happened. A lot of this one, and of course we got like another fight coming up there, which is Alexa Grasso. But I just wanted to check them off for that fight because after what you saw. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. I mean,
yeah,
that's gonna be really happen a lot because I know that she understands that she just suffered a broken leg in a training accident, but I know that it's still reality because I know that after that fight, she deserved like the first free match. But regardless in the rate that the action should be it, but they just gotta be moving it out for like the levels. I mean, they just kind of remember like the part 2 of Tatiana Suarez. But they just split it like in a small gap to get a submission in the first fight. I mean, that was like a close bit. Yeah. But that seems they had to go to a match into the post and for like the opponent. But the Bengali, the victory, I mean, they has more tools in the striking than anyone because that's going to be like an interesting challenge. She may be unbeatable, but the combination of skills, the robot boxer, underrated confidence and clinch, I mean, she will make it up for a lot of the people to deal with it. But maybe just kind of with the takedowns, they need to improve a lot.
Now, and you're talking about Silva or Grasso?
Yeah, Silva and Grasso, because they just saying like.
But are you saying that Silva needs to improve a little bit to fight Grasso?
Yeah, because Silva needs to improve his clinch against Grasso because I thought Grasso could be like the better idea to take over, but it doesn't seem that Silva could be like a little bit too much.
Yeah,
she can't stay healthy.
I agree with you. I mean, she's number 5, right? She's ranked number 5. She's on a nice little win streak. Silva is, but Alexa Grasso she's a whole different beast. Like her overall when those wars she had versus Shevchenko, I mean, there was inch for inch. And Shevchenko is the champion right now, and she took it back away from Alexa Grasso. So I know Alexa Grasso is just like, she's gonna want to really get through her to show everybody to be like, hey, I want another chance because it was so close. I mean, what's interesting about this card is they put 2 women's fights on here, which is interesting to me because a lot of times the UFC doesn't do that. They'll put one. But since I think there's a championship fight as the co-main, the Alexa Grasso versus Natalia, so they threw it on here. But no, I mean, I'm definitely going Alexa Grasso. I mean, I think she's going to demolish Silva.
Yeah, exactly. But if you guys remember that she was talking about, because we're talking about Natalia Silva, and she was talking about the criticism she received for using her Taekwondo basis in the MMA. Because she had really beautiful kicks, quite frankly, because the kicking should be used a lot more for the women division, because generally they support like a power advantage that the women have with the lower bodies compared to the upper, because women can kick a lot harder. They can punch the other bonuses of better flexibility and balance compared for the men. They're making it obvious that it should be like more kicking. But I mean, it's not that really like the rocket science. But there has to be like an improvement, because I know there are Taekwondo, because there's like a lot of hard work to do, because there are some people that say all the Taekwondo skills are not really like that great, but she needs to get it to improve at that level, because I know that Alexa Grasso, she can beat at any cost.
Did you see the odds on this? It's minus 192 Silva. That's crazy. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. I did not realize that. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I know, that's really crazy. And some people, they just wanted to take like it over for the favoritism and the underdog. Like, I mean, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder why the odds makers she's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak. All right. But I don't know how the odds makers can see her beating Alexa Grasso. I mean, I'm gonna now put money on Alexa Grasso just for seeing that.
That should be great right now. That should be great, because I was like,
where's my hype button at?
Well, there you go right now. All right, so next up we got Ayman Sahibi versus Jose Aldo. Now, I'm not gonna be like really shabby right now, because every time that Aldo fights, it might be his last for this UFC career, because they just went on to like whatever left it aside with him for video, like a render to build that hype and give it casuals on a name to recognize for the resume that will help with like at a long term that the random fight that he gets another guy for the same position. But for Aldo, it seems pretty game to do, because it doesn't seem like he just wanted to express the desire for the money, fight hard, feel goodbye, just kind of the sign off, just like the complete it was. Because imagine what happens when it comes to like the contenders. Because right now, it's going to be like at a 10. It's going to the last few years. Because I think that the another thing, which is Ayman Sahavi, is pretty much a pure boxer. Because every he can cage Aldo, then it's really over. But it gives like a back to the game. But also it just like give it like something like, well, if you remember like Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez, and the people that just wanted to see like a vintage Alexander Volkanovski, but surprised that I said the same no names, but they have the wasted career since he returned. But maybe could be like a big name for that. I don't think, because there's so many matchups for Aldo at this point. They could have it done Cruz a while ago, apparently, and Sean O'Malley to find each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, in the bantamweight, I mean, he's number 11 right now, and I think you're right. Jose Aldo is, these are fights they're giving him to guys that are like, hey, can you beat a legend? Can these young stars step up and fight someone that's, fought at the highest level at the older age of his career, And Ayman Sahabi, who works under GSP's coach's younger brother, right? So I mean, he comes from a really good camp. They're prepping him up to get to that next stage. into that, what he's number 14 right now. So interesting enough, even the odds here, they're minus 230 Aldo. I personally would take Zahabi as well because he is a young rising star and he has the right camp around him. I mean, GSP is going to be in his corner that Saturday. In my eyes, GSP is one of the greatest of all times. So I agree with you where the UFC is giving Jose Aldo these young, talent, and he's almost like a gatekeeper. If you could beat Jose Aldo, you belong in the top 10. If you can't, you're going to get pushed back out. And Jose Aldo's still able to get some money and put it in his pocket because really he's not, I don't think he's going to go on another championship run. I think that part of his career is over.
Yep. I mean, that's right. But between for like Ayman Sahabi, I mean, that could be like a lot of this. But because they do it for the cardio and of course the grappling and striking, I mean, that really happens a lot. Because if you see like the record coming up there, because he hasn't fought like at this age since Jeremy Stephens in 2018. I mean, he's been putting it against like young, hungry wolves because they happen to go for the greatest one. Because I know that he made like a lot of mistakes that nobody does, because that would be like a great performance. And for this cardio over for the last performance, it was abnormally bad. But he knew how to understand. Yeah, Jose Aldo. And then when he got a Sahabi.
Yeah, I think Jose Aldo fought. Who did he fight last? He fought Bautista. That's right.
Yeah, the big father Bautista.
Yeah, actually, I expected more out of Bautista in that fight too.
Yep. They just got it.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a good challenge, though, for Sahibi. He's going to get to see that next tier of competition and a guy that, has fought at the highest level. So I'm kind of I'm interested to see how Sahabi can test his skills versus he's a gritty veteran. He's not going to give you a win. You're going to have to earn it from Jose Aldo. And he's favored. They're minus 230. It's minus 230, Jose Aldo.
I mean, that was extreme because I know that Sahabi turned it around. They did look really tired on one of those fights. But it's presumed like the probability they might steal it, because I know they're always going to be like, there's a lack of the power in bantamweight. It's not very good because unless if you're grappling and wrestling is much better than others.
It's cardio.
But they're really decent. I mean, not even great at anything, especially when it comes to like landing nothing but body kicks.
Yeah, and I mean, and think about it. Jose Aldo's 38 years old. I mean, he's getting up there in age as well. So they're giving him Zahabi's, I believe, is 12-2. So they're just this is an interesting fight. I got to say, number 11 versus number 14. Zahabi wants to get up in the rankings, fight a veteran fighter. And I think if he can get the win, he's going to deserve to get in that top 10, at least conversation.
Yep. I think it's going to be really right. All right. So next up, we got, ladies and gentlemen, Manon Fiorot versus Valentina Shevchenko for the Women's Flyweight Championship. The co-main event.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
But I'll tell you for this one. I mean, her last performance wasn't really bad, because if you can put like a preview 2 of it in mind, because I think that we'd rather see like that fight, because they got a bigger chances for the much bigger.
Manina Fiorot?
Yep, Manina Fiorot.
Yeah, I mean, she's 12-1, right? I believe she's from France. And, she's been on a really good roll.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's been on a really good roll. She looks dominating. She beat Rose. She beat who else did she beat? She beat Holly. She beat Myra Silva. So I mean, it's almost like they've been having these trilogies with Alexa Grasso. So they can't give they got to switch it up, right? They got to get some new competition in there. And she's the number 2 contender. So it's well deserved. It's her chance to try to get it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. But some of those persons they're just talking about it's the better of the blondes. But have you seen like a Fiorot Manon? Because she have 7 fights win streak at the UFC, and she's a backup fighter for UFC Noche. I mean, she could be like a deserve a title shot. But if Valentina loses, I mean, there's gonna be like an easy work to Sean Keeley, because that would be an interesting war because she was moving up in the division and it's very huge for that division because she's going to be a better striker versus a substantial reach advantage.
I don't know what's going on with the odds makers here, but they have another surprising one is Manan Farot is minus 148 versus the champion. That blows my mind. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, that was a very, like, really close because if you guys seen the match between Rose versus Fierro, it was that very close because she was struggling with the footwork, technical striking, and the speed. Because Manon won pretty much because she hits really hard and then probably Rose broke it in the hand at the first. I mean, Valentina hits a lot of things harder, is more technical than Rose. And it's not going to be like really bullied at the clinch.
100% agree with you. Valentina Shevchenko she's a champion for a reason. She is a well-versed in every part of the MMA world. Any part you want to give her, cardio, boxing, ground game, she's gonna give it to you 100%. I don't know how she's not favored. That's crazy to me.
I mean, that's gonna be like really crazy.
I'm gonna call the cops.
So that was gonna be like something interesting. And right now,
who do you got? Who do you have?
Oh, this is gonna be like really hard because I just wanted to take over like Valentina Shevchenko because I know that Valentina Shevchenko, she makes really great for the women's MMA because sometimes you're gonna get in your shot and she's like gonna more than this area. She could be like an interesting matchup because if they wanted to reinstate the women's featherweight and make it like the co-main event of this card, I mean, that could be a lot of respect because it's the right fight to consider. Like the robbery has headed up for like almost 2 years. But I think that Valentina Shevchenko is going to be like fighting enough for all against for the contenders. But if Valentina Shevchenko loses, there probably is going to be like a one more fight before her retirement.
I can see it, but really what they want to do is they want Shevchenko versus what's the Chi Lang?
Shai Lang.
Yeah. Because I think that's the fight everybody wants to see because Tatiana, who did she just beat? Tatiana Suarez?
Yeah, Tatiana Suarez.
And everybody thought, oh, Tatiana, it's her time. She's been really good, and she got dominated on the ground by Chi Lang, right? Now, if Shevchenko wins this, they gotta put them together. That's what I think everybody wants to see. And I think before when Grasso fought Shevchenko, Grasso earned my respect. I was like, wow, they went toe to toe every single time, and every little part of it, So that's why I'm surprised that Grasso is not favored in her fight, and that's why I'm surprised Valentina is not favored in this fight. So I don't know what's going on with the odds makers here. I'm about to put a lot of money on Valentina. I'm about to put a lot of money on Alexa Grasso.
Exactly.
I'm surprised. I can't believe it.
Yep, even though that they can't believe it right now. All right.
Hey, listen, just real quick before you get into the main card, I did want to give a couple of shout outs on the undercards because it is in Canada. Mike Malott, I've had my eye on him for a while. I've had my eye for him in a while in a welterweight division. He lost, and then he got back in the win column, so he's 1-2 again. The kid is super talented. He's 11-2, so I like that they have him in the prelims. He lost to Neil Magny. That's who he lost to. So he wants to try to get into that welterweight competition. Also, the homegirl, I always like watching her fight. Jasmine Duvizicious. I think she's really talented as well. She's ranked number 9. She's on a nice win streak. See if there's anybody else on the prelims. All right, those are the two ones I wanted to give a shout out to.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, and I just wanted to tell before like the main event because do not sleep on the preliminary card because they just wanted to see like the
do you watch all the prelims?
Yeah, that's exactly because it's really excited to see like the prospect of the UFC and of course part of the Dana White Contender Series and of course some of those fighters that doesn't have like the contract. I mean, that's really amazing. That's really amazing because and I'll be honest because during for the watch preliminaries and of course the early preliminaries, because we want to see like a lot of talent, but also those wanted to sharp the skills and then going up for like the future coming up there.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. So yeah, I'm interested to see what Mike Malott does. I really am.
Yeah, that's exactly. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we got the main event coming up there because we got Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. So we're not gonna involve everything about Islam Makhachev or Kazmat Shamir because to be honest, right now, this is like one of
You
the
saw the
most
news though.
exciting.
You saw them talking.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Because
What do you
I
think
would
about Bilal? Like, what do you just think about his attitude?
I mean, I would like highly impressed because they're for like the attitude. But if Bilal can through like Jack Della Maddalena, because I know he has a lot of trouble with people who are less very dangerous on the pocket. And Jack was able to get out for the one time against Gilbert, but he had
Yeah.
a shatter forearm. I know that Jack Della Maddalena definitely it's not strong for the weight class, but the ability to get out from the top of the bottom, because I believe that is believed that as well. Because it's possible that Jack doesn't have like 5 round cardio for this fight and seems like very efficient in calm the terms of striking and doesn't want to do muscle the stuff or the grappling. But I think it's someone that he can punish in about playing jiu-jitsu. Like Shabbat, he can cut in on top pause because I think they can beat in 3 rounds very comfortably. But they have a lot of power. The only thing that saved it to get actually knocked out was pretty much I had to do it. Because after we can see a lot of things happens because they're waiting for this one because they're gonna talk it about like it turning like in a nightmare. But between for like both fighters, I mean, probably he wasn't like alive because of the announcement, but I need that many people that just acting because they just want not to be foolish, not to be foolish at all because it doesn't seem like they really care about like the division and of course they want to hold it up because it seemed like a good matchup for like takedown and the defense. But I think that it's someone has to go to the knockout for the left uppercut, right hook, left knee combo. I think that they're gonna really hear it first because Jadela Maddalena has struggled with a short notice who keep it on shooting up here because they know how to work at a decision. Because if that was gonna win to the same season, the reason that his father was going to win because they have more better in the pocket than anyone that have the law has fought.
Mm. Yeah, I would say this, just so you know, the welterweight division is my favorite division in the UFC. In my opinion, it's the premier division in the UFC. These top 10 guys in that division are all just at high level athletes at the right time in their careers. And you look at what happened and how everything shaked out. JDM was supposed to fight Leon Edwards, right? Bilal was supposed to fight Shavkat. Then Shavkat gets injured. They give Sean Brady to Leon Edwards. They move JDM up to fight Bilal. Carlos Praetus was supposed to fight Jeff Neal. So you had all these moving parts. You have Michael Morales about to fight Gilbert Burns. We were just talking about that on the earlier podcast on Sunday. So now that we get to see JDM versus Bilal Muhammad at this main event, we get to see, okay, for me, Bilal Muhammad likes to talk a lot of shit online. He's growing on me. Like a lot of times he kind of like makes me cringe because the shit he says online. But you know what? That's his job. He's building his social media. He's building. It's you have to have that, right? And he backed it up versus Leon. And now it's his chance to go back it up. He said he's going to be better than GSP, and GSP even said over on Ariel this week is like, all right, one fight at a time. You're not there yet. You're not GSP yet. But if he beats JDM. And then he gets a chance to fight Shavkat. We're going to see him, what he can really do. But I think that I'm interested to see where JDM's cardio is. I think you said that too, right? Like, because I think Bilal has really good cardio.
Yeah, because at this point, because if we want to see like a really potential going up there, because I understand that some people that might be trash talking about like cardio, the grappling, striking, but it seems that it happens with a like fighting this one because they didn't carry the change to the opponent or they had to defend. But it seems that Jatin Madalena has never to be in danger to rather to fight but lose. But it's gonna be like in a hard way to lose her first shot at the title. But certainly they're gonna take a look at the takedowns against Jatin Madalena, but it's not really able to finish the people on the ground because every time that Jack's checked up, I mean he's gonna have to be sharp to put like the lights out because I know that it's not one of those guys that will take early mistakes in the fighters in career that had some permanent thinking and they can overcome. But it's worth mentioning because the last time Bilal lost was against Geoff Neal. And he also not fought anyone with nearly as
was that in a decision?
Yep.
Was it a decision? Because he's like an 8-fight win streak, right? He's on a really good win streak right now.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
No, he's deserved where he's at, right? He really is. It's well, and the way he beat Leon, I mean, it was hands over down.
Exactly.
And I think that these top guys in any division, especially in the top three, you have to have an overall game. You have to know how to take people down. You have to know how to grapple. You have to know how to jiu-jitsu, and you have to know how to box, and you have to know how to cardio. If you look at all the top guys from why can't I think of his name off the top of my head? In the bantamweight, Marab, right? Really good on the ground.
Marab
a lot of cardio. Pantoja, really good on the ground. A lot of cardio. A lot of volume. Volk now, good on the ground. A lot of volume. Islam, we already know what Islam can do. Now you look at Bilal. Bilal is a really all-around good fighter, but I'm interested to see him get tested when it stands on the feet and to see what power he can give back to JDM. But I think he's going to outlast JDM.
I think it's really right. But I really thought that because the cardio is very really important because if you see like the Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady, I mean, it's gonna be like a strong grapplers, having a fun kickboxing match continue because if they really get that finish, that was be liking for a while. I mean, it's gonna be like a really clinical because and somehow Jack Della Maddalena didn't have like the clinch it at all. But should be like a leapfrog who is not gonna be refused at all.
Yeah, and I think Bilal's if you looked at the fighters he's fought, the level of competition. He's fought some of the best, where JDM is still trying to fight that next tier. So I think I give that edge to Bilal as well. Just the level of competition he's had to face to get to where he's at. This is going to be JDM's biggest test. I don't think this is Bilal's biggest test. It's going to be a test, but I don't know if it's his biggest test.
I mean, exactly. I mean, that's just getting it right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to tell you thanks for joining us on this special episode, giving the thoughts of the UFC 315 review, which is like the preview, because right now it is guaranteed like really insane right now. So thank you very much, DJ MTK. So right now, I just wanted to tell you where can we find over the social media and where can the people see like the West Coast Radio.tv, including the MMA homies.
Yeah, I mean, you can follow us basically on all our platforms. I would say, definitely follow us on MMA Homies Podcast on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. You can just type it in. You'll find us. It's pretty easy. MMA Homies Podcast.
And I just wanted to tell you, make sure to subscribe to Capitán Rafucho on YouTube. And, of course, you can follow me on every social media on Twitter as known as X, Instagram at Capitán Rafucho. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitch, Rumble, and every social media that I just got it. All right, so thank you very much for this special episode of the Combat Club because in this club, we're born to fight anywhere, anytime, anyone. So don't be a pussy and fight like a real man.
Yeah, I saw that. Don't be a ninja and fight like a man at the end. I was reading your
I just read it
at the bottom. I like that.
Yeah, because that's the motto for the podcast of the Combat Club. So right now, I just wanted to tell you, salute to everybody else. And of course, we will see you there at another episode of the Combat Club. So right now, we're getting out of here. So salute to everybody else. Peace out.